So a lot of things in the news about critical race theory, let's talk about that. This is the history of America, starting in 1607 to 2021. Along the bottom right here, this is the prison graph. This is the prison graph. This is the lynching graph. Up here, this is the roster of Supreme Court personnel that we've had on the court since the beginning. It's really hard to call them justices. In 1865, we passed the 13th Amendment. Abraham Lincoln makes a deal with slave owners. Slavery is abolished unless you're arrested for a crime. We can all agree that happened 156 years ago. The NAACP started keeping track of lynchings in 1882. I found far more lynchings. The lynchings end in 1965 when Dr. T.C. Donald puts his name in the Alabama Annister Star and says, we'll put up $20,000 to find the killer of Willie Brewster. The same thing happens here. When Jimmy Lee Johnson is murdered on Bloody Sunday, no news. When James Reed is murdered, it's on the front page of every single newspaper in America. Let's stay focused. Let's take a look at the prison industry here. Let's take a look at this prison industry. It goes here. Here's the first spike in the prison industry during Prohibition. You see that? Here's the next spike in the prison industry right here. What happened? What happened? Why does the prison industry spike so badly in 1968? Because of Terry v. Ohio. Let's go back. Which states left the Union in 1860 to 1862? Which states left the Union? Those states were Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. The top states today that incarcerate the most people and force them into indentured servitude are Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Texas, Tennessee, and Florida. The 13th Amendment says you can't have slaves unless they're arrested and put in jail. The top prison states in America are the same states that seceded from the Union, that could rearrest black people and make them a slave again. The Supreme Court, in a case called Hodges versus United States, they ruled, it's not an opinion, they ruled that the 13th Amendment cannot be amended or added to in any way. That was 113 years ago. Maybe it's time for judicial review for Hodges versus United States. Maybe it's time that we amend the 13th Amendment to abolish slavery in America now and forever. Whether you are convicted of a crime or not, you are not a slave. That's the results. And notice when the prison industry really takes off. When the lynchings come to an end, 4 years later they pass Terry v. Ohio, and then the prison industry takes off like a rocket. 156 years later, the same states that can arrest someone and make them a slave again are the top prison states in America that have slave labor. Is that critical race theory or is that true? Maybe it's time to make the Supreme Court electable. Join me on June 19th and I will explain to you exactly how to change the police state, prison state that we're living in today. Thank you for your time.